What is up, my friends? It is great to be back. I hope that you're all in good spirits. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and I hope that I have my mic unmuted. Quick glance. Yeah, it's unmuted. We're good to go. How are we all? Thank you for coming in. I know England are playing this evening in a boring friendly, but sure, you'd rather be here with old Anfield Agenda. We have loads to go through today, and I mean loads. It's one of the busiest news days I've seen around Liverpool Football Club in a while. But before we get stuck into all the usual incomings, outgoings and gossip, I want to say a couple of thank yous. JC, thank you, mate, for your super chat and for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships as well. It is a sexy beast stream. You're right, mate. That's what we're going for here today. I was sending JC a voice note just before we started, calling him a sexy beast, and I sent it to Connor by accident. So there you go. That's what happens when you leave me with technology, ladies and gents. Loads to go through today. So look, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. In Ireland, it's a bank holiday weekend, so I'm fortunate I'm still able to chill out here. But Craig, I got you and England on. There you go, Rachel. We love to hear that. That's dedication right there. So yeah, look, hello to all of you. So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be going through a few bits and pieces. Of course, we're going to be talking transfers. We're going to be looking at incomings, outgoings. We're going to break down who does what at Liverpool Football Club behind the scenes as well. The Echo did a very good piece, which I've nabbed some of, to give you guys an overview of what each person like Julian Ward and others do at the football club, what their actual role is. So we'll go through that. We'll ask why on earth we still haven't seen an RNA slot interview. I think it was Goomy in the chat. And by the way, Goomy, good represented. I had seen Connor sent me a screenshot. The Happy Hour podcast said, who should we get on for the Euros with regards to a football content creator? And Goomy said Anfield Agenda. Appreciate you looking out, mate. Well in. So yeah, we're going to be talking about loads of stuff today. It is a busy stream. So strap yourselves in. I'm going to probably be here for 2 hours. So let's get through it all. What do you think of Thiago Santos replacing Salah? Again, mate, I'm going to have to put my hands up in the air and say I know very little about Thiago Santos. In fact, I know nothing about Thiago Santos. So that's my honest answer, Bader, and thank you so much for your super chat, my friend. I wish I had a more in-depth answer for you, but I don't know much about the guy. Right, what have we got? It was good until Pearce said no first team signings. What? When did James Pearce say no first team signings? Connor, if you're watching, can you try and find this out for me? Because I don't know where you've seen no first team signings, because what I've seen today reported from Simon Jones of the Mail is that Richard Hughes is expected to look for significant upgrades in the transfer market on the squad that Arne Slot has inherited. So that's very different to the news that I've been seeing. But again, we'll talk about it. Look, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that Liverpool don't sign a couple of players in the first team. And I find it very hard to believe that James Pearce said that there's no signings. That would be mental. Like, yeah. We'd lose our minds. I'd lose my mind. I will lose my mind. That cannot be the case. Craig, I love Ray and Cherky. I literally named my bird Cherky. There you go. Well, he was linked with a move to Liverpool today, and we will go through that over the next couple of hours as well. I don't know all that much about Cherky, to be honest with you, but I would question whether we would have the need for another attack-minded midfield player to come in. Alright, Craig, love the show. Great to see a fellow Irishman do so well. Really thought there would have been an Arne Slot press conference by now. Genuinely, lads, I'm shocked. I seen Goomy mention it as well before the stream. How have we not seen any content from Arne Slot yet? He started his job on Saturday. The very least you would have expected was a bit of a pre-recorded video or an interview with the club's media or something. It's weird that we haven't heard from the new head coach yet. Craig, as a Villa fan, I'm shocked by who I saw on your thumbnail. It's not my story, bro. Don't worry about it. I'm not the one saying I think he's going to sign, but we have been linked incredibly with Douglas Luiz. Calcio Mercado in Spain are saying Liverpool and a couple of other Premier League clubs are being linked with a move from. I'll go through it in more detail, but personally, I don't think you've anything to worry about. I don't think there's much truth to that story. So yes, I could see why you'd be surprised. You had a great season for you last campaign, and certainly was a big part of why you guys managed to get yourselves in to the Champions League. Sorry, I'm just reading this. So, I'm reading out what James Pearce has said, and I think he was on the Anfield Raps podcast. So, let's see what he said here. It says, in terms of incomings and outgoings, it's going to be really interesting. I can't remember a summer going into it when there's been so few links to potential incomings at Liverpool. Is James Pearce asleep or something? Because there's loads of links. That's not a big surprise when there's been so much change and people coming in, getting their feet under the table. I don't think it'll be a massively busy summer. When you speak to people about Slot, the big thing was about him really fitting the profile of the players he'll be inheriting, and we don't think that big changes are needed. Yes, a bit of fine-tuning, and there are a couple of gaps. Joel Matip, Thiago Alcantara moving on. There could be other gaps to fill. For instance, if Liverpool get the kind of offer that would convince them to sell Creevy and Kelleher, you don't know who else might push for a move. None of that said no first team signings to me, mate. So again, if we're gonna talk about people like James Pearce and put words in their mouth, we need to make sure we get it right. Because, you know, James Pearce didn't say the words no first team signings, what I've seen there. So let's make sure we get these things right. JC, thank you for gifting another 5 memberships, mate. You're very kind. Tsukwaomi Gaming, thank you, sir. It said, it's been a great 4 months as a member of the channel. Appreciate you, bro. Right, let's get stuck into it. Because as I mentioned, there is quite a bit to go through today. And if you haven't, please do drop a quick like on the stream for us and hit that subscribe button. Right, where do we start? Let's go in some chronological order. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So, starting off with Coop Miners, and I'm going to work through at least 11 transfer links, so do stick with me. So, Coop Miners, priced at £51 million, is a story coming out of Football Italia. They say Atalanta will hold out for £51 million for Italian Coop Miners amid links with Liverpool and other clubs. That would price out Juventus, who's, unless a sale is made, such as Federico Chiesa, who has been connected with a transfer to Anfield with just a year left on his contract in Turin. The article said Juventus might target Nice midfielder Kefren Thuram, a player Liverpool have also been linked with if Adrien Rabiot rejects a new contract proposal. So, it seems that us and Juventus have been linked to a few similar players. Thuram, who I don't believe Liverpool are in for. We've also been linked with Coop Miners, who I don't know if that interest is still really there. £51 million for a position that we don't really need him in. We need somebody a little bit more defensive minded for my liking. So I don't think there's much truth to that one personally. £51 million, yeah, I can't see it. I think Liverpool initially scouted him, but as I said, whether we still hold an interest or not, let's wait and see. Rachel said, I'm not a fan of James Pearce. I like James Pearce. I think James Pearce is a lovely guy. I've had the pleasure of doing some podcasts and chats with him over the years. He's very friendly, very good to fan content creators, always makes himself available. But he's one of the more cautious journalists, is probably what I'd say. You know, he's not the type of journalist who may break the story, but when the story does break, he's the type of journalist who will give you great details on how it all came about and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm always going to stick up for James Pearce because I do like him. Craig, I'm going to fail the 7th grade, probably. Do you have any ideas of what to do? Yeah, more work, bro. Get stuck in. I don't know. We can't fail grades over here in Ireland, so I haven't got a clue. But keep your head down and work hard. That's all I'll say to you. And don't get too stressed out about it. Right. Latest on Ryan Cherokee. So, over the past few days, Liverpool have been touted as holding an interest in Leon midfielder Ryan Cherokee, and reports say that Liverpool have inquired about the 20-year-old. The France under-23 international is going into the last year of his contract, and Liverpool and PSG have been linked with a move for him. And again, we're talking about an attack-minded midfield player here, so we don't need an attack-minded midfield player. We're overstocked with attack-minded midfield players, so I would say, unless Liverpool are looking towards the future here, maybe buying with selling or loaning out for a season or something, I don't see where the space is in the squad for the amount of people that we currently have. There's another one I think I missed here. Someone said I missed a member. Oh, Stanislav. Boy achieved his dream. Kylian Mbappe is a Madrista. Yes, that was also announced officially this evening by Real Madrid. I think about 6:30. that Kylian Mbappe is now a Madrid player. I think it's about 15 million euro a year after tax, 100 million euro signing on bonus spread over the course of his 5-year contract, I believe. What else have we got? Got my history GCSE tomorrow. Wish you all the best with it, Connor, my friend. What's happening with Fabio then? He's going to be brought back in and I think looked at by Arne Slot, because when Arne Slot was at Feyenoord, he wanted to bring in Fabio Carvalho. So he is somebody who likes Fabio Carvalho. Let's just wait and see what happens over the summer though. I think Fabio Carvalho deserves a shot at the first team, because I think he's a really talented footballer. I don't see him on the training pitch. I don't know what his attitude is like, but I do know I don't believe he's been given a fair crack of it at Liverpool so far. Paul Smith said, sign Ryan Cherky now. Well, the figures being spoken about are quite small for Cherky. Like, you're talking about 20-25 million because he's going into that last year of his contract. So these are the type of deals that I wouldn't rule Liverpool out of, because there's bargains to be had out there, and we know we love a bargain, so let's wait and see. I saw what his salary was. What is the real value of his contract? Yeah, see, I don't believe some of that story either. Yeah, I don't believe that story either, mate. But look, he is at Real Madrid now. It is official, and we can, stop. Well, we all knew it was going to happen. I was going to say we can stop guessing. We all knew that was going to happen. Hope you're well, bud. When will you think we get a press conference with the new manager? Peter, hope you're well as well, mate. Lovely to see you in, bro. Don't know, but it feels a bit weird. I can't be the only one who feels a little bit strange about the fact that we've not seen anything from Arne Slot yet, in a Liverpool t-shirt, a Liverpool hoodie, a suit, a press conference, a video. It feels weird. It does. So I was wondering if I was going to be the only one. Then I jumped into the chat tonight, and I see a lot of people are asking a similar question, like, what on earth is going on there? There's no worrying about him being the coach. That's done and dusted. But yeah, you would have expected at least an announcement video or something around the situation, since he has started work. Could be the media team are on holiday after all the Klopp farewell stuff. Could be, but, surely to God they can get a cameraman and a sound guy to record a video. Was that your Belfast show on Friday night? Was a really good night's crack, said Brian. Thank you. I was wondering how people thought the show went, mate, so thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you for coming out as well. I really appreciate it. How did the live gig go? Again, it's not for me to answer, Mark. I think it went okay. Feedback seems to be quite good about it, but, as always, it was lovely to get out and meet people afterwards. We got a photo and had a chat with pretty much everyone that was there, which was lovely. LFC Love, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Absolute legend. Thank you for joining us. Right, I got to keep going because we do have a lot to talk about, but I will be dipping in and out of the chat, don't worry. So, Santiago Jimenez valuation is the next article we're going to be looking at. And it said... this is in the Echo, speaking about a post they had earlier up in the day, said, following on from our earlier post, Feyenoord striker Santiago Jimenez could cost less than £40 million amid links with Anfield. That's according to Team Talk, which said the Dutch club wishes to hold out for about €45 million, which is about £38 million, in what could be a record sale for Feyenoord. It does go on to say the player will not be prevented from leaving if the right offer is tabled, and this comes after reports suggested that Arne Slot had referenced Jimenez in talks with Liverpool. That last line is the intriguing part of that, right? It says again, this comes after reports suggested that Arne Slot had referenced Jimenez in talks with Liverpool. So we can't look into our crystal balls and see the future. We don't know if we're going to lose a forward in this window or not. We don't. But what we do know is this guy has been spoken very highly of by not only Arne Slot, but Dirk Kuyt as well. It is a leap. You have to take somewhat of a leap of faith if you're bringing in somebody from the Eredivisie to the Premier League. It's a big jump up. We've seen enough of it written about our new manager, so bringing in a player would be similar. But his numbers are quite impressive. So I'm not going to be the judge of whether Santiago Jimenez would be good enough to make that step forward or not. But I'm also not going to be the one who rules it out. So anybody in the chat that's a regular Eredivisie viewer, let me know, is this guy the real deal? Because his numbers certainly impress me. And I think he's fairly robust with the old injury concerns as well. Did you see Kudus target or Neto? Said Alex Macklin. I don't, like James Pearce said, it's very difficult to find out definitive targets at the minute because Michael Edwards is back at the club, Richard Hughes is there, and we do things on the quiet. So it's really difficult to get any concrete information. A lot of this is just journalists, presenters, fan accounts, podcasts, trying to just piece the jigsaw pieces together. Now, what I thought I would do tonight, and probably do it at about 9:30, I'll go through the senior people at the club, what their roles are, what it entails, what role they have to play in bringing players in and stuff like that. We'll cover all of that over the course of the next 90 minutes. Yes, Danny Ladd said, appreciate you talking about Turkey, Craig. Let me know if you know anything about it from the French side, because I really don't know. It strikes me as the type of signing Liverpool would look at. A young player, potential to loan out maybe for another season, a relatively reasonable fee with a year left on his contract. So yeah, I'm curious. Jimenez is good, better than Bakayoko, said T. Well, I think Bakayoko's more of a wide player, if I'm not mistaken, and Jimenez more central. I believe it's a strategic call so everybody can have a pause and get out of the farewell to Klopp moment. Again, Alejandro, that has some sense behind it, mate. I still just feel it's weird. They could have pre-recorded this and put it out later. The fact that there's just been nothing other than a post to say that he officially started work, just, I don't know, feels a bit underwhelming. I want the new gaffer to be brought in with a bit of fanfare, you know, a welcome and an introduction to the Liverpool family. Craig, I can't see Liverpool spending much this summer. Afraid to burst the bubble. FSG won't buy unless a few go out the door, including Salah, to pay for the transfers. It's sad but true. Simon, you know me, bro, at this point. You're a regular on the channel. You know that I don't hold out much hope of FSG loosening the purse strings either, which is why I've been so adamant about selling Salah. But it's not going to end well. Let's be frank and honest about this, because some other people have tried to put a positive spin on it, but you know me, I'm a straight talker. If Liverpool don't go out and address the areas that we need to address in this market, bring in a new centre-back, bring in certainly a defensive-minded midfield player, and after that, I'm open to whether it's an attacker or a left-back, but those two positions, a DM and a centre-back, they're non-negotiable for me. Yes, maybe you have to free up some space in midfield and move somebody out. That's understandable. But it has to be done. Because everybody else is going to move forward. You see Arsenal being linked with players in positions that they need. Being linked with Sesko, as an example, through the middle. And they're not going to stand still. Spurs and Postecoglou won't stand still. Villa won't stand still. United won't stand still. So we can't. This is going to be just a massive show of they don't give a fuck if they don't spend money. Let's be frank about it. There's only so much a coach can do. And if they're expecting Arne Slot to come in and be 10 times better than Jurgen Klopp at coaching, I think they're in for a rude awakening. Because, look, let's be honest, we all feel that Jurgen Klopp at times covered over the cracks for FSG. So now, if they've got a new coach in, they have to back him. They have to. It has to, and no more of this crap, by the way. If we go through the window and there isn't many signings and they haven't spent the money, I don't want to hear about them building the stand, and I don't want to hear about them building a training ground, and I don't want to hear about the FSG Love Brigade, because I'm going to be calling them out on it, as I always do. New manager deserves to be backed, and he should be. So we have to wait and see, but not too long, because we've had too many summers where we've waited, and then it just peters into nothing. This summer we need action. Craig, I'm from Boston. Once in a while the FSG group does spend serious money. I hope they do it at Liverpool, mate, because we haven't seen it. We've only seen it when we've sold players. Our average, as I've said, over Klopp's 9 years here, our average was about 500 million net spend, which is what? 50 something, 55 a season. It's not great for a club the size of Liverpool, the 5th most valuable football team in the world. So yeah, look, there's a bit of a lucky track record on the channel of me going on FSG rants and them signing players. They are not linked. It's just a coincidence, but maybe if I keep ranting about them, maybe we'll see some action. Because heaven knows they won't answer our email. You know, again, just blanking us. My mate who's a United fan says Casemiro going to Saudi for 90 million. Can't see that price being through. So Ben said something similar to me as well. But ask yourselves this. Who the hell is going to pay 90 million for Casemiro? If 90 million is got for Casemiro, something stinks. Because nobody would look at that Casemiro that's played with United. Not the one that was at Real Madrid and his first season at United. That Casemiro was quality. But the Casemiro that we've seen lately, if somebody comes and spends 90 million on him, something's dodgy. Because nobody in their right mind would put that valuation on him. Especially when he wants to leave United as well, by the looks of it. That would be an absolutely insane valuation. Craig, if you could realistically sign one player this season, who would it be? Ederson. Not Man City's goalkeeper, the Atalanta defensive midfielder. Anyway, I want to keep going because I've loads more to go through. So, remember we were speaking about Luis Guilherme. And then we were told Luis Guilherme was going to West Ham. And Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool did have an interest, but contrary to prior reports, Liverpool never put an offer in. Well, today, Jacob Steinberg has said West Ham's move for Luis Guilherme has broken down. So they're not going to be signing the winger from Palmeiras at this point. Does that mean Liverpool may step back into the arena? I don't know, but let's keep an eye on the situation because we had been quite strongly linked with Luis Guilherme for a while, and now that the move to West Ham has broken down, why? I don't know why that might be, but let's wait and see if we do act. And also, one thing I'd like to get from you guys tonight is an idea of when you believe we'll start to see some signings being brought in. Sorry, I was just reading through a message somebody sent me there. Can Liverpool pull their finger out and decide on 3 players who have 12 months to run on the contract for F's sake? I agree, Stevie boy. Again, the fact that, you know, Trent's now with England, Verge is with the Netherlands, and Salah's away with Egypt, and we still have no idea what's happening with their contracts. It's mental, and it just keeps getting more and more mental and more confusing. So I'm with you, absolutely with you. As always, Stevie boy, I think we agree on a lot of stuff, mate. Michael said, trip a pleasure, bro. Our pick is my new home screen. So we met Michael yesterday and up in Belfast. Michael in the chat that sent that super chat there. Michael travelled over from the UK to come and see us in Belfast, and he'd also booked for the Dublin show. So when we cancelled the Dublin show, I felt terrible that Michael was making the trip over. So we went out for dinner with Michael last night to FX Buckley's in Monkstown. Nice dinner, really nice to meet Michael, and thank you, mate, for travelling over as well. This is how much of a top guy Michael is. He's also coming to Cardiff and Liverpool. What a legend. Appreciated meeting you, mate, and thank you for making the trip over. I'm glad you got home safe and sound. Andre Links went away completely. Did I miss something? Said Harissa Sports. And thank you, my friend, for your super chat. So I had a similar thought to yourself, and I went searching the other day because I happened to see that when I clicked on Fluminense were playing one night, and I happened to just look through their squad, and he wasn't in the squad, but I think he was injured because he is still listed as a Fluminense player. But you are right, it did go very, very quiet, which is mad. Like, it went really, really quiet, and no news there. Sorry, I need to just reply to True Geordie's manager just messaged me. I need to just send him back a quick message before I forget, because he's still over in Saudi, and I think they're 2 hours ahead of us. 1 sec, guys. Sorry, I'm just typing this out quickly. Cool. Done. Thank you for your patience. Let's keep going with the news because there's a lot to go through. Right, where am I in this one? We've done that. Oh my God, I didn't realise how many transfer stories I have here to go through. We're going to be talking about Antonio Silva in a second and the eye-watering price that Benfica are going to ask for him. Santino, absolute legend. You guys are in really generous form tonight with the memberships, the super chats. Thank you so much. Santino gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Top man, my friend. Appreciate you. Zumzi, how are you, sir? Said, hi Craig, sorry for not coming in the past few days, but wow, I have a membership, so thank you to whoever gifted it. Could you do a quick recap, please? Not yet, no, because we're only half an hour into the stream and I'm still working through the first lot of news. So we've loads of time and I will go back over it all, don't worry, because I think a lot of people are going to come in then after the England game as well. So let me just keep working through it and I will go back over it at the end. But thank you again for your super chat. Right, so this piece says, eye-watering Antonio Silva price tag. So for those of you who don't know, Antonio Silva is a Benfica centre-back, would be probably my first choice of any centre-back we could get in world football to bring into Liverpool. But Corriero the Mana said that Benfica would want €100 million or £85 million to sell the centre-back mid-links to Liverpool Football Club. I can't see Liverpool ponying up that much money for a centre-back, even though I think it would be money well spent in the long term. He played 50 games this season for Benfica. They kept 20 clean sheets. Arsenal are also apparently interested in Antonio Silva, but this for me would be a big statement if Liverpool were to spend that much on a centre-back. I don't necessarily believe that we will, but I do like any link that links us to Antonio Silva because he's the type of player we should be looking at. I can see Liverpool hijacking Inacio deal, said Matthew. That is on my list to go through, mate. We will be talking about Inacio in a little bit. Don't worry about that. Is that his release clause? I think it might be. Sorry, I'm just reading through. Doesn't mention that is his release clause. They just say that that's what they'd like. So let's wait and see. Sorry, my phone's lighting up here. I'm getting messages galore all of a sudden. So I'm just going to focus on you guys, the important stuff. I have something I need to tell you guys though, really quickly, as you've probably seen before the stream. The 2 shows are selling fast. I got an update last night on the Liverpool show. It's almost 75% sold at this point. And Cardiff, we've sold about 10 tickets in the last hour and a half. So if you want to come and see either of our 2 last shows, the Richard Burton Theatre in Cardiff on August the 2nd or Liverpool on August the 4th, make sure you get your tickets soon because they will probably sell out over the course of the next few weeks. And yeah, they're all ages events. Tickets are priced at just £15 and they're going to be the last 2 shows we ever do live. So if you want to come and see us, make sure that you get those tickets. Right, let's keep going. Kefren Thuram. This is one that I just don't believe. I'm going to say that straight out. This piece here from Tutto Juve say Liverpool enter negotiations for midfielder. Liverpool have entered negotiations with Nice over a possible transfer for midfielder Kefren Thuram, according to Tutto Juve. The 22-year-old played a total of 29 times this season, and they say that the Nice value the player at about €30 million. I don't believe it, because we had all this last summer and we didn't do anything about it. We even had his agent. Remember, there was a picture of his agent. She was sitting at the Nice reception area, and we all thought, "Oh, is she there to talk about?" I think it's Rafaela Pimenta, I believe, or Pimenta. Is it Pimenta or Pimento? Pimenta, I think, is the his agent. I don't see it. I think maybe Juve want them, and again, they're just trying to make it look like they're battling Liverpool for every player. But I don't believe that Liverpool will go back in for Kefren Thuram. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. If I had to spend On a centre-back, a defensive midfielder and attacker, where would most money go and who would it be for you? Oh, I love that question. So where would the most money go? Centre-back, for me. Because Virgil is getting on in years. We still don't know his contract situation. I'm assuming the club are going to give him a new deal. But even at that, we need another centre-back who, when Virgil does hang up his boots, will be ready to be a partner to Kwanzaa or Kanade or whomever the centre-back pairings are. So I would spend big on a centre-back of about 22 to 24 years of age. Maybe even a little bit younger if it was Antonio Silva. Midfield, I think we could get a top-quality defensive midfielder for less than 50 million quid. I think Ederson at about 40 would be top class. And in attack, I don't really feel comfortable answering the question until I know if we've sold somebody. So if we brought in money for a Diaz, a Darwin, a Salah, and I don't want to sell half of those, by the way. How could you have half of 3 players, Craig? I don't want to sell most of those, but there have been links with them with moves away. So I'll hang off on that. But you have kind of led me nicely into another story that might be a cheap alternative. And I'll get to that in just 1 second. Ian Cahill. I'd like Liverpool to get Dani Olmo and Lautaro Martinez and Federico Chiesa. I don't think Martinez would work at Liverpool. Dani Olmo has been loosely linked to us, but I think the fact that we brought in Dominik Szoboszlai, who was playing in that same position at Leipzig as Olmo plays in now, and was putting up better numbers, probably puts a bit of a dampener on that one. And on Chiesa, Ian, I'm going to talk about him right now. But first, thank you to Zumzi for gifting a membership. Appreciate you. So this says, Liverpool-linked winger Federico Chiesa has no intention of signing a renewal at Juventus under the current circumstances. The piece goes on to say the attacker has just 1 year left on his deal in Turin and is expected to be sold this summer, so a fee can be brought in for him. Chiesa could be available for as little as £20 million. I have seen other figures that say it could even be a little bit cheaper. Interested? What are we saying? Can we get a poll up, Connor, on this one? Federico Chiesa for £20 million. Yes or no? If you can get that poll up for me, Connor, that would be brilliant. England have scored, apparently. Cole Palmer penalty to make it 1-0. Just for those of you who are interested. So yeah, I want to know your thoughts on Federico Chiesa. Do you think it would be worth £20 million? I have to say, I think it'd be worth a punt at 20 million quid. Hi Lord Houlden, thank you. You spelt my surname wrong though. There's a U in there, Finlay Years Guitar, but thank you. How's life been? Can't make it to the live shows, unfortunately, playing at a music festival, so can't wait for that. Good luck, and you'll never walk alone. Well, thank you. Congratulations, by the way, on the music festivals. I hope you enjoy it. And shame you can't come to the shows, my man, but hopefully we'll catch up with you at some point in the future, and appreciate your super chat as always. Right, the poll is up. Would you take Federico Chiesa for £20 million? We'll leave that running in the background while we continue to talk. Craig, 3 articles in the last 10 minutes about Inacio reported transfer fee 51 million. Opinions. Right, let's get to it then. Let's talk Inacio. Let me scroll down through my notes. So, there have been a couple of bits and pieces about Inacio. Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool are still interested. There's another piece that said Manchester United are preparing an offer. So it does feel like the likelihood is that he may leave Sporting this summer. Now, £51 million is about his release clause. I think his release clause is €60 million. So £51 million makes sense. Look, my question is always going to be the same. If we wanted him, why the hell didn't we sign him last year when we got him 20 million cheaper? That's the baffling part in this for me. Did they want to see him develop another year? I don't know, but it's 20 million quid. You could have bought him and loaned him back to Sporting for a year. But look, I've no problem. If we sign Inacio, it would make sense. Can play left side of the centre-back pairing. Can play left back. Very versatile defender. Right age profile. Not a ridiculous transfer fee. I would just, again, it just leaves me scratching my head as to why we didn't do it last summer. But I can see and understand the interest and all these links. So let's wait and see what happens. There's going to be a lot of teams looking for signings, but again, it depends how generous John W. Henry and his wallet are feeling. But I would have no complaints if Liverpool brought in Gonzalo Inacio, other than the one I just mentioned. So Fabrizio Romano has said Liverpool are showing interest in Inacio. So that was one thing that Fabrizio Romano said today. That's when he wasn't flogging his €50 Kylian Mbappe 3 t-shirts. The absolute state of that. Have you seen that? Fabrizio Romano is apparently selling his tweet on a t-shirt for 50 quid about Kylian Mbappe at the Here We Go store. €50. Are you having a giraffe? €50. That's mental. If you buy that t-shirt, shame on you. One, for buying a tweet on a t-shirt, and two, you could have got it made yourself for a tenner. But wow, that is mental. He just really is showing himself up now to be just interested in the money. And that's okay, but don't profess you're a journalist. Just say that you're a gun for hire. Just let it, be honest about it. I find that all so weird. Michael Watson said, I love Man United think that they can get Inacio until we show our hand. I don't even look... United look like they haven't got the money to sack their manager. Jim Ratcliffe's going around there offering out redundancies left, right and centre to all the non-football playing staff. They're got to fix the stadium. They've got to update Carrington. They're going around with the begging bowl out looking for a dig out from the government to build a Wembley of the North. And that's before we get into the fact that they're once again only in the Europa League. So that's why I said at the very start of the stream, the idea of somebody coming in and paying £90 million for Casemiro stinks if that happens, because that's not anywhere near his market value. He's a shameless individual. He's a tosser, said Kevin. He's so cringe, said Gumi. Cringe as well, said Napupu. Look, did I or did I not call all this out on Romano 2 years ago? People love him or hate him. I'm very much in the I don't see what good he does for football camp. But, selling your tweets, send me money and I will tweet what you want me to tweet, and then selling t-shirts with your tweets on them is a bit weird. How about Hugo Duro from Valencia? I mean, I'm not up enough on all these players to know about Hugo Vidura or Hugo Duro from Valencia, nor have I seen a link, so I don't know what to say, bro. I don't even know what position he plays, in all honesty. Paul Cartwright said, we'll end up with a load of shite lads trying to convince ourselves we've made a good sign, and you heard it here first. Paul, I wouldn't be surprised. Not at all. If you take a gamble on a coach like Arne Slot, and you're after having Jurgen for 9 years, and you do your search, and you find that Arne Slot's the coach that you want to bring in, if you don't back him significantly, I don't know what that says, other than you're hoping again for the cheap option of having him coach the younger players through and then turning them into superstars. But that takes time and patience. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't fancy any more seasons outside the Champions League. I've gotten used to it. We've been spoiled on the Klopp. Only one season not in it. And I didn't like it. And I don't want it to happen again. So they need to make damn sure that we're challenging next year. Because we don't know what's going to happen with the whole City debacle. We don't. But let's say, for argument's sake, they did get punished. And let's say they got a huge points deduction or a relegation. Then it's going to be a fight out between us and Arsenal. And right now, you've got to say Arsenal would probably hold the upper hand, because Stan Kroenke looks like he's willing to sign quality in the positions that they know they're lacking in. Declan Rice was a great example of that. They brought in Trossard as well to beef up their attack. Now they're talking about Antonio Silva at centre-back. They're talking about Benjamin Sesko through the centre. We can't be also, Rans. If you don't have the stomach or the balls to run Liverpool Football Club to win, then off you pop. Say what you want about Florentino Perez, and I do have a lot to say about him, but Real Madrid exist to win European Cups. End of. They're ruthless in the pursuit of them, and they've won 15 of them. Why can't we have an owner who wants to be successful and win? Not just take over and have the asset grow in value, but actually genuinely leave no stone unturned to win. Because, I don't know about you guys, but one of the things I was always told growing up was Liverpool Football Club exists to win trophies. These days, you've got to willing to spend. And we generate enough, so why not spend some of it? When you're charging people $5,000, $6,000 for hospitality season tickets, between 5, 8 and 6.5 grand, you best be putting some of that money back into the playing squad. Rami, thank you for your super chat, mate. You're very kind indeed. Thank you so much. Said, hey Craig, been watching your channel for a while now and just wanted to show my gratitude. Will Mo's new hair bring him back to his best? I hope so. I love his new haircut. I love Mo with his shorter hair. I think it really suits him. Will it bring him back to his best? Truly, I respect Mo, but I feel his best days are behind him. I think if we keep him around for the last year, I'm sure he'll do some numbers for us, but it just feels like a situation where when he leaves for free, I'm going to be really, really, really pissed off about it, because it's just bad business from the football club. If he signed a new deal, that'd be a different story, but as it looks right now, signs are pointing to him departing for free next summer, which again I would say is just terrible business. Mark, thank you for your super chat. Said, to remind people who are asking, transfer market opens June the 14th with Premier League fixtures released on the 18th of June. Thank you, Mark, for that. Mark's brilliant to keep me up to date with all these type of bits and pieces as well. And another good thing about the live shows is, if you're coming to Cardiff in particular, Cardiff, you'll get to meet me, Connor, Ben, and a couple of others as well. The whole team are going to be in Cardiff. My wife's going to be there. My son's going to be there. Connor's partner's going to be there. Ben's wife is going to be there. So we're all going to be in Cardiff for the Cardiff show if you're coming to that one. For Liverpool, most of us will be there. But Liverpool is going to be our last ever live show. And I couldn't think of a better city to finish it off in than Liverpool. So yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing. After I got the Belfast show out of the way, because it was a year since I'd done a live show, I'm ready now for a couple more, and then I'm done. More likely to sign Bunnyface than Boniface, said Paul Cartwright. Right, anyway, I've got more news to go through, so I'm going to keep rolling through it. Douglas Luiz, anyone? Because yes, believe it or not, there are links to Liverpool and Aston Villa's Douglas Luiz. This piece said Liverpool have been connected with attaining interest in Aston Villa midfielder Douglas Luiz. The 26-year-old can play as a pivot, with Arne Slot tending to play with two anchors in his tactical system. A report coming out of Italy adds that Liverpool would have to pay about £60 million. The piece also says that Arsenal and Manchester United are also linked with the player. And look, on the face of this, would I take Douglas Luiz for £60 million? Absolutely. In a heartbeat, yes. I think he's more than good enough. I think he proved that over the last couple of years when I did have some doubts on him. But I got to say this clearly as well. I don't believe Aston Villa want to sell. I don't believe Aston Villa will be interested in selling. And I don't believe £60 million gets it done either. I think the number would have to be significantly higher than that. But as a player, I do think it Premier League proven. And I would take him at Liverpool, but I can't see it happening. And again, I find it weird that a lot of these rumours are coming out of Italy. It makes it feel again like they're trying to distract or say, look over here at these midfielders while Juventus try and go with their business to bring in the one they want. Zumzi, thank you for your super chat, mate, or super sticker. Appreciate you again. You've been very kind again today. Thank you. How do I pronounce this one? Morax My said, Craig, just wanting your opinion. Saying we got new owners, would you like money like City or Tottenham and Aston Villa? So, all I want is the owners that we currently have, who are, in most other ways, pretty good owners, to just loosen up the purse strings a little bit. Like, I don't want Liverpool to have a sugar daddy that comes in and does some of the stuff we've seen with Manchester City. I don't want that to happen. I don't want a state to own our football club because I don't believe in state ownerships of football club. It just annoys me that we have the ability to spend a bit more than we do, but we don't. Like, we are in no way near FFP problems, and yet we still don't spend enough in the transfer market. It feels like every season, right at the end, we've fallen away a little bit in recent years. And why is that? Well, you can argue it's fatigue, or squad depth, or a bit of both. But either way, we've always had a deficiency or two in the squad that we've always rolled the dice on rather than gone and got the players we needed. Every year I'm sick of rolling the dice. Example, this season, We might hear a lot of conversation around Stefan Bajcetic, and I love Stefan Bajcetic, but I wouldn't rest my whole season on him coming in, staying fit, being sharp, and getting back up to speed. And again, remembering he's only, 19 or 20 years of age. So, some guaranteed signings would be nice. Some here and now, and then we can work with the kids. Because there's a lot of talent coming through. No doubt about that. But we need a couple of players, and we need the right players here and now, and we need the owners to spend. So somebody said we need a Trump economy. Right, we're not talking about politics in the chat, and especially we're not talking about convicted criminals, mate. So we'll move on. Craig, we just don't waste money. If the market doesn't have the player we want, we wait. Yeah, see, that's the apologist's answer, in my opinion, John. Like, when has the market been right? You know? We spent money on Darwin, fair enough. But other than that, the real big money signings, we've kind of shied away from. We tried the Caicedo thing, it didn't work out. And that was under Klopp as well, you know, where Klopp was very regimented in what he wanted or didn't want. If he couldn't get who he wanted, he would wait. But I think things have to change now because, one, we don't have Jurgen Klopp. We have Arne Slot, who needs to be supported as much as possible. Any news about João Neves? Yes, I do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break from the transfer talk for a few minutes because I do have 5 or 6 more transfer stories to go through. But I promised at the start of the stream that I'd give you guys a breakdown on the likes of Julian Ward and who works behind the scenes for Liverpool, what they do and how they may impact Arne Slot's time at the club and of course the summer transfer market. So that's what I'm going to do for the next 5 or so minutes. So you guys sit back and relax. Make sure you drop a like on the stream for me and let me just talk you through some of these comments. So, Julian Ward. His job title is FSG Technical Director. Now, there's a more in-depth version of this on the Echo's website if you want to go and have a read of it for yourselves. It's one of the best pieces I've seen them put together in a while, actually. So do go and check that out if you would like. Like Edwards, Julian Ward returns with a different role and a fresh set of responsibilities, having accepted terms to come back on board as FSG's Technical Director. Ward's extensive contacts book, particularly in the Portuguese region, will be used to help identify the best path forward as Fenway go about adding to their stable. Ward will reportedly be tasked with overseeing the development of players within the FSG stable of clubs, including at academy level, while also the loan departments. Having previously served as the club's loan and pathways manager before moving into the sporting director job in 2022, following a soft launch into the position as his assistant, the highly regarded Ward will once more be answering to his former boss, an FSG employee, Mr. Michael Edwards. So that's the scope of what we can expect from Julian Ward. The interesting one for me, though, is Pedro Marquez, who FSG have brought in as their Director of Football Development. This is the guy that we brought in from Benfica. This says Marquez arrived from Benfica to fill the role of Director of Football Development, where he led on coaching recruitment and overseeing a youth structure for the Lisbon Giants. A key part of Benfica's operation is to develop players to the point where they're able to bring in huge sums of money when they leave for bigger European clubs. And the Portuguese have become one of the elite selling clubs on the continent over the last decade through the departures of the likes of João Felix, Ruben Dias, Darwin Núñez, who moved to Liverpool for an initial £64 million 2 years ago. Marquez, who was sounded out in February, had previously worked at Sporting Lisbon, Manchester City, City Football Group. He shares a good relationship with Julian Ward and was hugely helpful when arranging a friendly between Liverpool and Benfica B prior to the 2019 Champions League final. Now, a couple of things about that stand out to me. Some of it is good, but again it screams to me developing players to flog them on in the future for profit. That's not the type of club Liverpool should be. If that's what they want to do, we have problems. I'm all for developing young lads and bringing them into the first team and establishing themselves and keeping them. But I don't want us to become a selling club ever. We should be a destination club if we're serious about winning stuff. Now, one of the most important people for me is Barry Hunter, Liverpool's chief scout. I'm going to tell you his remit now. Liverpool's chief scout is a former Northern Irish international defender who was born in Coleraine and played for Crusaders in his homeland before moving to Wrexham in 1993. Reading bought him for £400,000 3 years later. Blah, blah, blah. In 2012, Hunter joined Blackburn Rovers, and then as a senior scout in 2006, he did a similar job at Norwich City before moving to Manchester City in 2008. He was City's chief scout for Italy, Switzerland and Russia. Hunter was recruited by Liverpool as their new chief scout in 2012, at the same time as they snapped up Dave Fallows. At Liverpool, he follows up recommendations from regional scouts and draws up detailed reports on players who Liverpool are tracking. Dave Fallows is another one that I think you should pay attention to here, because he's the head of recruitment at Liverpool, one of the most important people at the club. Poached from Manchester City following the appointment of Brendan Rodgers in 2012, Dave Fallows is Liverpool's head of scouting and recruitment, responsible for coordinating the club's worldwide network of scouts with regards to potential targets. He works closely with Barry Hunter, the club's chief scout, to attend matches, gather information and compile detailed player reports which are assessed by Edwards and others. Speaking in 2017, Jurgen Klopp credited Dave Fallows and Barry Hunter with playing key roles in the decision-making to sign Mohamed Salah from Roma. The scouting department was really behind me and wanted to do it earlier so that nobody could jump in, he said. We were sure he could help us. Michael Edwards, Dave Fallows and Barry Hunter, they were really in my ear and were on it. Come on, Mo Salah, he's the solution. So there you can see how important he is. Those guys were the ones who changed Jurgen's mind, from Julian Brandt, who Jurgen wanted to bring in, to Mohamed Salah, who I think it's fair to say came in and absolutely, tore it up with Liverpool. Last one I have for you guys before we get back to transfer talk is Will Spearman. Spearman replaced Ian Graham as Liverpool's Director of Research last summer when the Welshman left with Ward. The American is head of small teams who work with mainly geared towards establishing the right players to look at in the transfer market. Little is known about the day-to-day operation, and interview requests for Will Spearman are always politely declined. So there's a bit of a background here for the people who work behind the scenes at Liverpool. Now, of course, we'll see new coaches and stuff come in as well, but these are the brain trust behind the football club when it comes to transfers and tactics and scouting and data. They're the names you should be getting to know. Craig, it's about time FSG made a statement marquee signing. It's been so long and it's not good enough, said the Liverpool prophet. I agree. Mate, you know my thoughts on FSG. I'm always saying they're cheap. And some people don't believe that to be the case. Some people believe that they're astute. But my question is, if we all agree that we want to win trophies, then you can't win trophies by being cute all the time and cheap. Sometimes, like we do with Van Dijk and Alisson, you got to just get the right players. Right, so we asked you guys a while ago, would you take Federico Chiesa for £20 million? 82% of you guys have said yes, you would take Chiesa for £20 million, and 18% say no, they wouldn't. Sounds like we've too many cooks in the kitchen. No, genuinely, that's not unusual. Because each one of those people that I read out have a different remit. So, for instance, the likes of Michael Edwards and Julian Ward and Pedro Marquez, they're not solely working at Liverpool. They're looking at all of FSG's footballing operations. So it would be the likes of Richard Hughes, Dave Fallows, Barry Hunter, Will Spearman and others who will be solely just focusing on Liverpool. Aaron Gita, Craig, big fan, been watching for ages, not recently active with exams though. Oh mate, you don't need to tell me you've been around for ages or you've watched the channel for a long time, mate. I know, I recognise your name from ages ago. Great to have you back in, and I hope the exams go well for you, first and foremost. Significant upgrades would be crucial for slot success. Imagine upgrading Jones with, I think you meant to say Thuram, or Diaz for Chiesa, who can play across the whole of the attack. We need upgrades in both depth and starting. I agree. Some of the players will come from the youth system. The likes of Bobby Clark. he will probably be in and around the first team soon enough. Then you've got to make a decision about the likes of Ben Doak. Now, luckily for us, we may get to see Ben Doak with Scotland at the Euros because he's been called up and he looks like his fitness has returned. So we'll get to see how Ben Doak gets on if he gets some minutes in the Euros. Other players, we've spoken about before as well, coming through. McConnell, you know the list at this point. So I'm not against giving youth a chance. But I am against not going out to try and win everything. That I can't be arsed with. You have to know that you need to spend. And if they don't spend this summer, I think we're going to be in trouble this season. I don't think we're going to be 8th, 9th, 10th, but there's every chance we could miss out on Champions League. Because, as I keep saying, those around us are not going to stand still. They're going to spend. Do I watch the League of Ireland? I don't watch it as much as I do keep up to date with the scores. For instance, I've seen the Bray Wanderers win earlier on. And I was checking in a few other scores. But I don't watch it that much because I'm usually streaming when the games are on. Do I recognise you? I don't recognise your name, my friend. No. Do I think Endo will be the main starter next season or used as a squad player? So I mean this respectfully to Endo, but he shouldn't be a main starter. Not if we're serious. If we want to go out there to try and win the Premier League and the Champions League, I don't think we're doing that with Endo as one of the two midfield pivots. He is very good. He can be effective. He does have a place in the squad, but I don't think he should be the number one defensive-minded midfielder. I feel like we should spend and bring in there. Trent scored in the England game as well. According to the chat, I can see loads of people in. Well in, Trent. Delighted for him. Hopefully that gives Liverpool another little nudge to get that lad's contract sorted. Because it's insane. Connor, can we get a poll, actually, saying, are you worried about the Trent, the Salah and the Van Dijk contract situations? Just a yes or no, please, Connor. Because I really would love to know how worried you guys are. Because I'm starting to get pretty stressed about the Trent situation. Craig got me hooked on that Ederson. Look, it happened to me very quickly as well. Like, I'd always known of him, but when we played them in the I wish it was the Champions League. When we played them in the Europa League, and then the Europa League final, and then a couple of other games I've watched, he's always looked really, really good. He's the right age, about 24 years of age. So for me, if you could get him for £40 million, and you have Endo as well, that would allow you to sell a midfielder. Because we are quite well stocked in that area. I think I counted up the other day, there was 12 midfielders in and around Liverpool. Excuse me. Would I take Somerville? Again, I've been honest and say I don't know enough about Crescencio Somerville. I didn't watch the Championship this year, so I have no idea what he was like at Leeds. I didn't really watch much of the Dutch national team, so I don't know all that much about him. I know that Leeds are probably going to have to sell him. Chelsea are also linked with him. I think Palace may be even looking at him in case they do lose Elise, so he will move this summer. I just don't know if it'll be to Liverpool or not. Anything on the Bruno Guimaraes links? And thank you for your super chat, 7DVZE. There was something yesterday on Bruno Guimaraes. It was again a kind of vague link, but nothing I've seen concrete. Now, Eddie Howe has admitted that they may have to go into next season a little bit weaker than this season because of the financial restraints and the fact that they aren't in Europa League or any European football next season. So, yeah, I think Newcastle will have to sell a player or two this summer. So I think if an interesting offer comes in for a Bruno Guimaraes or an Alexander Isak, maybe they'll have to listen to it. How about a poll asking if Trent should be sold? Well, I would imagine that 99% of people would say no, he shouldn't be sold, surely. There were times where I doubted Trent's future at the club when he was going back maybe a year ago, when he was going through a bit of a slump. But this season, I think Trent's blossomed into a leader, and a real man, for want of a better phrase. So I can't imagine anybody would want to sell him. We do have the poll up though that said, are you worried about the Salah, Trent and VVD contract situations? So have your vote on that as well, and we'll keep going. We've an hour left on tonight's stream, so loads of time. Another goal there for England, by the way. According to the chat, it looks like Harry Kane makes it England 3, Serbia 0. Tanya said, Anthony Gordon looks like a Liverpool player in a Newcastle jersey. Well, there have been links to him. The chat lost their damn mind when we talked about it a few weeks ago. The price tag of 100 million is ludicrous for a player that they spent, 40, 45 on. He is a Liverpool fan. He did start off in Liverpool's academy. I think he was released when he was like 9 or 11. Then he went and joined Everton's academy. Needs to stay on his feet a little bit more for my liking as well. But he does have something about him. I just don't see 100 million there personally. He was even quoted recently as saying that Anfield is the most atmospheric away stadium. Napopu said, it is nice though, how we've seemed to be one of the few teams that have compiled with FFP. I wonder if that will ever benefit us in the future. I think that's worth a conversation actually, my friend. Let's do a few minutes on this because it is an interesting subject that you've raised. Let's go back to when John W. Henry and FSG bought the football club. It is important to point out that they did buy the football club under the belief that FFP was going to be enforced by UEFA. And it hasn't been, at least not how we would have liked. We've seen the whole Manchester City stuff. We've seen other charges against other teams kind of come and go. And they always seem to be rejigging everything. What I've seen recently with UEFA is they don't even back their own rules. So, example, two teams with similar ownerships can't play in the same competitions until it happens, and then they always find a way to work around it. It feels like they actually don't have any power, and that the clubs are telling UEFA what to do these days, and it is a little bit concerning. So, when the owners came in, they did believe that if FFP was enforced, that they would be clever enough to be able to put the right people in to benefit from that system. Now, with the new profit and sustainability rules and all these other things that have been coming in, yes, if they ever do get to a point where they're actually enforced properly, it will benefit us because we have been frugal with our money. And, you know, one thing I will always say about the owners is, you know, there's no chance of us going into administration or bankrupt. They run the club in a healthy, profitable way. We were one of the few teams, if not the only team, in the Premier League that I think made £100 million profit a few years ago. If I'm not mistaken, in one season we did turn over £100 million in profit. And obviously the COVID situation messed it up for a lot of teams and threw the finances up in the air. But we do, if it was really tightly enforced, would I back us to be more successful? Yes. With these owners, I would. But do I have the belief that we'll see a day where the financial rules are really pushed? No. And a couple of reasons why. You'll always have someone like a Todd Bowley who will come in and find loopholes or a way to bend the system or not break the rules as such because he didn't really do anything against the rules. But these 7-8 year contracts and stuff like that are just ways of kind of gaming the system a bit. So until we have a robust financial model that truly does reward teams for doing things in the right way, it just feels like a race to the bottom at the minute, you know. What Manchester City situation has done, I can't speak about this highly enough. To me, the whole Manchester City stuff is one of the biggest scandals in football in my lifetime. You know we have to wait for the 115 charges and the hearing, and we have to wait and see what the outcome is. But I don't really care what the outcome is, because nothing is going to convince me that they aren't guilty. Nothing. The only thing I will say, if Manchester City get away with it, is that it's because of geopolitical influence. Because of the amount of money that Abu Dhabi is investing in London. And tell me any other football deal in the history of football that you've ever heard of that would involve the British Embassy being called in to Abu Dhabi to answer some questions around the Manchester City situation. That just reeks to me. It should have no interference. Politics and sport and religion are all supposed to be kept separate. Sport is a beautiful, untouched, beautiful thing. And Manchester City have bastardised it, in my opinion, over the last 12, 15 years. And have gotten away with it for far too long. And have gotten to the point now where people just believe that they'll get away with it because of the political pressure and the power and the influence and the money. Something's either right or it's wrong. And if you don't enforce the rules on the higher ups, then fuck off trying to hold the rest of us accountable to these rules and laws. Because if it's not good enough to charge at the very top, stop bothering the rest of us with it. We all know what they're at. We all know. They've applied to extend the Etihad. And Domino's, in fairness to them, did a reply post to say, that's like us making our pizza boxes bigger but keeping the pizzas the same size. Even with the reach that they claim to have on social media and all of this, all of it, everything about it is tin pot. Look at the celebrations when they win. Nobody gives a shit. Manchester City have just won the 4th Premier League title in a row. And tell me that if that was Liverpool, Arsenal or United that had done it, that you wouldn't have heard a lot more about it. They did a world tour of their trophies and nobody gave a damn. They can't give away tickets to some of their games. They are a tin pot, pathetic excuse of a football club who, in my opinion, deserve everything thrown at them. Because they have gamed the system. There's so many things I wish I could say on this stream that we've been informed about. And look, I can't say all of it's absolutely 100% true, but enough stories to make me think that it stinks. For instance, as an example, do you guys believe that the whole Haaland situation and the fee paid was the end of that? Do you think that that 50-something million that they paid for him was the only money involved? And that his wages are the wages that are being on the books? I would be very dubious on that, to be honest with you. I hate them. I hate them because I think they're destroying the game. And I think that governments and UEFA need to grow a pair or step aside and let somebody else in. If you can't maintain and enforce your own rules in football, then what's the point in having them? What's the point of the Premier League and the FA? What's the point of all of these people if they can't look after the sport? We could see potentially 5 titles stripped off them. And do you know what I hear there? I hear 5 sets of other fans who've been shafted. How many other league titles could we have had? United would have had another one. How many cup successes would other clubs have had? It is all a joke. And that's before we get into the fact that it takes 6-7 years to investigate it. And meanwhile, they go around lauding it over everybody, winning the Champions League, and say it's for all the Emirati worldwide. Not the Man City fans, for all the Emirati worldwide. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick of hearing about them. I'm sick of seeing Sky Sports and BT pontificating about how great they are and how great Guardiola is, yada yada yada. Meanwhile, Guardiola's probably going to snake off at the end of next year when the heat really gets turned up. Can I ask you a question in the chat? Genuinely. And I'd love a poll on this, Connor. Sorry for making you do another poll, mate. But 59% of you have said yes, you're worried about the VVD, Salah and Trent situations. Can we get a poll, Connor, that just asks a simple question? Do you think Manchester City are innocent of the charges? Yes or no? Because that will give me a definitive answer of what the public think. Our public, anyway. Do you think the COP is the next to be upgraded, just like the Annie Road end? So, I believe that there are problems with the ability to increase the COP because of the road behind it. So I don't know if it's logistically possible. That's the honest answer. And also, if Liverpool increase the capacity above what we have at the 60-61k mark, you start to have to look into other stuff there. The boring stuff like noise pollution, infrastructure to be able to get fans to and from the stadium safely, and all this other stuff, traffic, congestion. There's a load of things that need to be looked at. So I don't know. But where we're at right now, you know, the stadium's certainly 17,000 bigger, 18,000 bigger than when I started following Liverpool. So I'll take it. Right, do you think Manchester City are innocent of the 115 charges, yes or no? We'll leave that running in the background. I can't even believe that there are some people who've clicked yes, that they are innocent. That baffles me. And if you are somebody, by the way, that does feel that they are innocent, please do let me know why in the chat. I promise you I'm not going to go in on you for it, but I'd like to know why. If somebody thinks they're innocent, I'd love to know the reasoning behind why they think they're innocent. Carson said, I misclicked. Well, let's wait and see how the poll goes over time anyway. We'll leave it running in the background and we'll continue talking, because I've loads to go through. More transfer talk to go up with as well. What's this Marcus sent me? Adam Lewis, one of Liverpool's longest serving players, is set to leave Liverpool. Thank you, Mark, for that one. And again, Adam Lewis, wishing him all the best with his career. Yeah, Connor, can we start this poll again? Because I think people... I'm going to end it. Just ask a different question, Connor. Are Manchester City guilty, in your opinion? Or do you think Manchester City are guilty of the 115 charges? Because I think how I asked you to phrase it probably was incorrect. So we'll do it again and we'll say, are Manchester City guilty of the 115 charges in your opinion? Yes or no? Yes, RIP Rob Burrows. Thank you, Alex, for bringing that up. Rob Burrows has been a really good campaigner for motor neuron disease, which he sadly passed away from. A rugby league player, a rugby league legend. He sadly passed away age 41, I believe. So absolutely RIP Rob Burrows. And thank you for bringing that up. Right. Opinion on Manchester City's charges, guilty or innocent. There you go. Even better, Connor. Thank you. Thank you. You've worded that even better than I said it might well in. When will they even get charged? They've already been charged, Mason. This is the thing. They've been charged. Those 115 charges are put against them from the Premier League. Now we have the hearing to see, you know, let's think of this as the court case to figure out whether or not they get away with it. Okay, Connor has another poll up his sleeve in a few minutes that I'll come back to. Playing devil's advocate, isn't the FA and UEFA more at fault? The FA, I don't really believe, no. It's Premier League here. Premier League, the FA are a stakeholder, the Premier League are its own entity. UEFA shit the bed with their charges and the time barred aspect of it. Again, I would urge you to watch Britain's biggest football scandal on YouTube. It's a free documentary. It goes into this in more detail than I could ever explain. Talks you through the Court of Arbitration for Sport hearing, which weirdly it felt like City got a pick of one of the people who were going to be on there, or at least it's been reported that way. Do watch it. Honestly, if you've got an hour of your time to spend, it's free, it's on YouTube. Britain's biggest football scandal. Watch it. It's a great documentary. There's some really good insights from New York Times reporters and other on it. And it really lays it out for you. Craig, do you think Chelsea will be more or less successful with Maresca compared to Poch? It'd be difficult to be less successful, you know, because what do they do with Poch? Get into the Europa League? Or are they in the Europa Conference League now, actually, aren't they? Sorry, I think they're in the Conference League because United won the FA Cup. So it'd be hard to be worse off. I feel Pochettino was hard done by. So for instance, if Maresca comes in and does well, I think part of that will be down to Pochettino sort of gelling them together at the end of the season. But also, look, they've given Maresca a 5-year deal. It's a large backing. Let's see what they do this season. I definitely expect them to be a lot better than they were last campaign. So again, that's another one that will be looking to challenge for those 5 Champions League spots if we get 5 next season. Eamon Kelly said, innocent until proven guilty. I'll wait. Well, they've already been proven guilty of some stuff, Eamon, because they've been given fines and transfer bans from UEFA previously. So they have been found guilty of some stuff already, mate. Any idea where Arne Slot is? Nope. We were talking about it earlier on. LFC Shankly. It's a bit mad that we haven't had any video. So, right, back to transfers for a little while. Breaking news, said Simon Jones of Mail Sport. Liverpool expect offers from Saudi Arabia for Joe Gomez this summer. Now, it doesn't say Liverpool want to sell. It doesn't say Joe Gomez wants out. It just says Liverpool expect offers from Saudi Arabia for Joe Gomez this summer. Thoughts? Concerning? Not concerning? There were a few stories last year linking Joe with a move away from Liverpool. He got plenty of minutes this season because he was helping, covering, slotting in, filling in. He was really important to us this last campaign. So I hope there's nothing to it, but I've said this as well. I can understand why maybe Joe or anybody else would want regular nailed on football because he wants to represent England as well. And, you know, he's been quite loyal to Liverpool since he's come in from Charlton. Very loyal, I should say. So let's wait and see what happens. But I've no idea to even try and figure out what he'd be worth, in all honesty. You know, what is he now? 26, Joe Gomez? I don't know. Well, if Casemiro's worth 90 million, 150 million, if that's what Casemiro's worth. I find it funny that he's moving into Klopp's house. It's like Oris and Uachtaráin, said Connor, which is the Irish president's house. Yeah, because whose house was that before Kloppo's? Was it Henderson's or something? Klopp was renting it off somebody else, wasn't he? And now Slot's moved in as well afterwards. Or was it Lallana? Maybe it was Lallana's gaff or somebody. Leighton Robinson, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, mate. Appreciate you. What about Chelsea bending FFP rules? I've no idea, though, is he? How on earth they can spend £1 billion? No idea. Doesn't make any sense to me. And yet still they're linked with spending a load more money this summer. They've just sacked Pochettino and they will be paying up the last year of his contract. And then they brought Maresca in. Look, some of their stuff has really concerned me. The selling the hotel to themselves part. You know, selling it from one holding to a different holding. And then there's talk of them selling Cobham as well. A lot of the stuff with Todd Bowley, to me, and I'm not a finance expert by any stretch of the imagination, just ask my wife. It feels like they're setting themselves up for a Barcelona level of problem down the line. Like, remember when they made all these signings and they spent £1 billion? The very first thing that was said about it all was they have to consistently deliver Champions League football or this will be a huge problem for them. They haven't. They're in the Conference League. So when does the problem start? When do they have to start selling players? Because I don't understand how they could spend £1 billion. It just doesn't add up to me. L'Equipe have just put this out to say Ibrahima Konate and Deo Upamecano to be preferred for the starting centre-back roles over William Saliba for France by coach Didier Drogba for the Euros. There you go. So Saliba can't get past Konate and Upamecano. But he's better than Van Dijk though, remember, Saliba? In all honesty, I do think that's a bit of a mad one. I think Saliba should probably be a starting centre-back for France, but there you go. Oh, it was Brendan Rodgers that rented the house to Klopp. That was it. It was Brendan Rodgers that was renting it to Klopp. There you go. Thank you for that. Do you know if Diaz is staying this season? I don't know, mate. No. Like yourself, I've seen links to moves away, but, you know, I still don't know where Barcelona will get the money from. They haven't even got the money to register the new manager that they've brought in, Hansi Flick, and I'm not joking about that. So, yeah, I don't know. PSG, I don't know where they're going to start splashing their Mbappe money or the money they've saved from Mbappe if they come in for him. I truly don't know what to expect with regards. There's two players I don't know what's going to happen with, Diaz and Salah. They're the two for me that I'm totally in the dark on. They may be guilty, but they'll get away with it, said Ian Lamb. Well, we just wanted to know your opinion, and the poll is still running. We asked, opinion of Manchester City's charges, guilty or innocent? And we'll leave that poll running for a little bit longer. Welcome in, by the way, to all the extra people who've come in since the England game is over. We've got almost 1,500 people in the chat at the moment, and all I ask you, if I can, is a couple of things. One, drop a like on the stream. Two, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And three, don't forget, if you want to come and see us, Cardiff or Liverpool, they are selling fast. We've only got about 25% capacity left for Liverpool, and Cardiff we're about, I think, 60% sold. So if you want to get your tickets, there's a pinned link at the top of the chat and in the description of this stream. You can get your tickets there. You can get a family ticket in Cardiff or a group ticket of 4 people for 50 quid. There's only 2 of those tickets left. And you can get single tickets for both shows for £15. They are both all ages events as well. Right, and if anybody has any questions about accessibility or anything like that, email us, contact@anfieldagenda.com, and we will happily talk you through any questions or queries you might have about, for instance, is it wheelchair accessible? Yes, both the venues are. But if you have any questions or anything like that, please do let us know. Why is there no slot content? Dude, we're all asking the same question, Lewis. All of us are confused. Why no RNA slot content? He started work on Saturday and we're still none the wiser. Right, so let's get back to transfer talk, because I did promise you guys I had more stories to go through. I want to talk about Sepp van den Berg for a minute. We spoke about him the other day. He's very unhappy about Liverpool stalling his career. He feels like they're pricing him out of a move, and he feels like that the club really haven't looked after him too well by the sounds of what he's been saying. Simon Jones from Mail Sport have said Wolfsburg has emerged as the early frontrunners for Sepp van den Berg from Liverpool. I don't know if Wolfsburg would have the money to... Did I say Drogba was the French manager? By the way, somebody should say, did I mean Deschamps instead of Drogba? If I said Drogba, I absolutely meant Deschamps, sorry. But yeah, on Sepp van den Berg, I can see where he's coming from, but I can also see where Liverpool are coming from. For instance, Branthwaite, a player that battled relegation with Everton this season, is being spoken about at about 50 million quid. Now, he is homegrown, so I understand that. But I think Liverpool are within their rights to set a price for Sepp van den Berg. But I also hope for his sake he gets a move and gets to play some regular football, because it must be frustrating just constantly being loaned around. What backup left back would you like to bring in? I don't know if we really need one. That's the honest answer. Right now we've got Robbo and Costas, and I don't think Costas is good enough long term. But I am interested to see how Owen Beck gets on. And there's another young left back as well, Luke Chambers. I'm interested to see how he gets on. So, I don't know. Unless we sold Costas, I certainly wouldn't expect us to bring one in. Could it be a work permit delay for Slot? No, because he's already in Liverpool. You know, we've seen him at restaurants and all this other stuff. And the club put out a post to say he officially started work on Saturday. So, no, it isn't that. There is some work permit concerns for some of the backroom staff, which is still working through, I believe, but not for the gaffer. Right, Leighton said, we need to get the pennies out this season for a Slot. And thank you for your super chat, Leighton. Yes, we do. The manager needs to be back, bro. We've said it right the way through the stream tonight. If they don't back him, I mean, what's the point? Where's this one? Right. For those of you who've been patient, I've left one of the biggest stories towards the end. This piece here says Liverpool leading the race for Benfica's João Neves. Now, the headline's a little bit untrue, because it does say Liverpool leading the race, but it means along with other Premier League clubs. Let me read through the piece for you and you can make your own mind up. Liverpool will reportedly face competition from Manchester United, Chelsea and Bayern Munich this summer as the race heats up for Benfica midfielder João Neves. The 19-year-old midfielder had been linked with a big money move away from Benfica after a breakout campaign which he featured in 55 games across all competitions. Neves had been linked with a move to Manchester United in January, shortly after Sir Jim Ratcliffe's minority investment was confirmed, but Benfica rubbished reports that the Portuguese international was engaged in talks over a move to Old Trafford. According to O Jogo, though, Neves is set to be the subject of a mega money tug of war between some of Europe's biggest clubs. Liverpool, PSG, Chelsea, Arsenal, Bayern Munich and Manchester United are all touted for a move for the 19-year-old. However, it is claimed that Liverpool and the other 3 Premier League clubs are leading the race. So, for me, I don't believe we go in for battles in transfers. We've seen it often enough. We don't really go head to head with 4 or 5 other clubs in transfers publicly. Is he a good player? Absolutely. 19 years of age. There is some concerns about a few bits and pieces about whether he's focused enough. I've seen some articles and stuff like that. But there's no way we're going to spend what I think is over €100 million for his release clause. I can't see that happening. And if, as this piece says, if it is us to go head to head with the likes of PSG, they're going to spend more money. Because they freed up, I think, 220 million or something since Mbappe's gone on. There was an article about how much money they've saved. So I can't see us doing it. And I want Ederson, as I've said before. Why Liverpool not contact you, Craig? Big Liverpool channel. Should we all email them on your behalf? No, I would certainly not ask anybody to do any stuff like that to Liverpool for us. We did email them. I read you guys out the email that we wrote. I say we, Connor wrote last week. We haven't heard back. Don't know if we will ever hear back. But we reached out and that's all we can do. You know, we said to the channel to Liverpool that we feel that we represent the club's fans in a respectful, loving, caring way, basically. Pointed out the reasons why we think further engagement with Anfield Agenda would be beneficial for everybody concerned. But unfortunately, as of this point, we haven't heard back from the club. I don't know what else to say. It's disappointing, but I look at it this way. One thing I would never do is not speak my mind. One thing I would never do is betray our audience and turn into a bootlicker. If we did ever have any interactions with Liverpool, we'd of course be respectful in any of these things, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. If I disagree with something, I'm talking about it. I don't care. If it costs me any access to the club, so be it. My job here is to represent you guys and to represent the feelings of our community and to speak out about things, whether that's for the way the club are doing it or against the way the club are doing it. I'm going to speak my goddamn mind. So maybe that's why they haven't got back to us. Maybe they're too busy. Maybe they don't like us. I don't know. But it is what it is. And we've done our part. We've reached out and tried. João Neves will be the perfect in the slot DM role and he is future-proof. Well, look, if he's played 55 games this season, that's certainly a good sign of a robust player who can go through a very busy season. 55 games, a lot of games. The Liverpool Prophet said, this is why Craig's the best YouTuber for Liverpool content and the best YouTuber in general. Thank you, bro. Look, can I be real for a little minute? I don't play the game of YouTube. I don't do the licking people's arses to get opportunity stuff. I'm of the belief in life in general, be it sport, media, or whatever industry you're in, that your skill level should be enough to determine whether you get presented with chances to move forward or not. Unfortunately, in the industry that we're in, there are many YouTubers who are brilliant content creators but don't get any opportunities because they haven't got the right connections or they haven't bowed down or kissed the arse of the right people. We will do our own thing and plough forward. And we hope we get to a point where we can't be ignored, because it's no coincidence that we never get invited to any of these things, or we never get jerseys to review, or we never get invited to charity games. It's no fucking coincidence. Like, our numbers speak for themselves, and there are doors being constantly closed in our and other YouTubers' faces. And I'll tell you what, I'm here to kick that fucking door down, and I will. For me and for other YouTubers. Look at it this way. In sport, if you play tennis, let's say as an example, and you keep winning, eventually you're going to get somewhere because your talent shines through. They can't deny you. In this, it's a who you know industry. And it really is a who you know industry. Yes, you'll always have breakout people. Yes, you'll always have superstars. But for the rest of us, we've never in Ireland been embraced by the Irish media, by the Irish broadcasters, by radio, by newspaper, by blogging magazines, or vlogging accounts. We've never been invited over to anything but the club. We've constantly had doors closed in our face. And as I said, it is what it is, but we're going to kick the fucking door down and be undeniable. So watch this space, because we're building something with you guys. They can't ignore us forever. As a community, when I say us, I mean us, all of us, because it's growing. And it's grown, and it's been built with strong foundations of people who know what they see, which is honest people trying to represent the community, speaking up for the overseas fans and being honest about it. And we won't ever change that. So if that costs us opportunities, then fuck it. We've got you guys, and we're going to carry on doing what we do. So Darwizzy said, in my opinion, the other content creators such as the Anfield Rap are full of yes men. That's where they get these perks. Now, I would never say the Anfield Rap are yes men, because I truly don't believe that they are. And I'm not here to begrudge anybody else, because, you know, I hope everybody gets to live their best life. And I hope that everybody gets the opportunities their heart desires. And I love the Anfield Rap. And I've no bitterness towards them or Redmen or anybody else that has gotten opportunities with the club, because I wish them nothing but the best. But for me, I don't know. I'm just going to keep clocking up numbers and seeing where we end up. One thing I will say is, I don't know who the best Liverpool content creators are. I don't know who the best Liverpool fan channel is. I don't know who the best Liverpool podcast is. But I know one thing's for certain. I know who the best community is. And that is without doubt you guys. There's no argument about that in my mind. This channel and you guys are different, because we are a community. We do reach out. We do care. We do look out for each other. And I love you all for that dearly. So you've got my back. I've got your back. Let's keep going. Put our best foot forward and see what the world has in store for us. And that's all we can do, you know. I need to be true to myself and you guys, and I love you all dearly. I truly do. My favourite part of all these live shows is getting to meet you guys. We had dinner with Michael last night as well, lovely fella. We've met Brian before, had dinner with him. I love it. I love it. I love you. I love all of this, and I'm not bitter about any of it. But like we always say in everything else, a level playing field would be nice in life, wouldn't it? Just, you know, an opportunity presents itself. Would be nice, because I feel like we've earned that right. Liverpool probably don't want to interact with you because of the stuff you said about the owners. So be it. You know, I look at it like this. If the owners of a football club only want everyone to be positive and yes men, that's worrying, because it's not healthy. Everybody should be challenged in life. I don't surround myself with a team of people in Connor and Ben who are yes men. They challenge me. They question me. They throw up other ideas. And I think as football fans, we should be able to do that. We should have the right to say, I don't like this. I don't agree with this. There's a way of doing it. What you'll never see Anfield Agenda do is at people on social media and start belittling them. We don't go about it that way. We say what we have to say and we mind our own business after that and carry on. So if the owners look at us in that way, then so be it. But I wouldn't change even if I got the access. It is what it is. I am who I am, and my job's to represent you. Right, more transfer talk. Let's keep going. This from Fabrizio Romano said, Juventus keep considering Théo Koopmeiners as a top target for midfield, with the player keen on the move, waiting for an approach to Atalanta. Atalanta president has said, for sure, several top clubs like Koopmeiners, we will consider his future soon. I don't believe it will be us that sign him. But I do think Juventus have been pushing hard to try and bring him in. So Connor wanted one more poll to finish up tonight with, and we're going to end this one on Manchester City. We asked you guys, our opinion on Manchester City's charges, guilty or innocent? 95% of you guys said guilty, and 5%, I can only assume, we're trolling. But Connor wants one more poll. That, do you think Manchester City will get away with it? That's the poll that he wants to finish up tonight with. So, regardless of whether you think they're guilty or innocent, Connor wants to know, do you think Manchester City will get away with the charges? And Connor will get, there he is, it's up there now. You being you is important to this channel, though. It is, because I'd be betraying you if I was a sellout. If I turned around tomorrow and became all pro the owners and everything's great about the football club, I wouldn't be able to look in the mirror. I wouldn't be able to come on here and look down the camera. Yeah. And so look, we've always believed that our outspoken nature will probably cost us opportunities. And we've been okay with that. But we did feel it was time that we reached out to the club and, tried to touch base. Craig, they are 100% cheats and guilty, but why do you think the spotlight is on City and not PSG? It's a good question. So, there's a few answers that I will give you. One of them, I would say, is look at what happened when the Super League came about. Look at who didn't run to join it. Mr. Al-Khalifi, the president of PSG, played a bit of a blinder there. So they stayed on UEFA's good side, became quite friendly with Alexander Keferin, and I think he was appointed to run one of the ECBs or something like that, or one of the club, European Club Association, something like that. So they've kind of played cleverly here and kept on side with UEFA and backed UEFA through the whole Super League thing. So other than that, I don't know, because the French league doesn't generate much money from television revenue. Yes, they do probably sell a lot of merchandise and stuff, but have they ever been turning a profit or breaking even? I very much doubt it. Like, how can you have Neymar, Messi and Mbappe, Donnarumma, Ramos at one club playing in France and tell me that you can afford that? That stinks as well to me. I guess the reason our focus is mainly on City is because it affects the English league that, we're all involved in. We support the club in this league. Paul White said, brilliant channel, the only Liverpool channel I follow, keep it up. Do you know what's been lovely? Sorry, I'm getting the Bernie Balls thing. Do you know what's been lovely to see? Of all the shows that we've ever put on, Dublin, Belfast, even Boston before it was cancelled, Liverpool and Cardiff, the one show I was nervous about doing was Liverpool, because I always assume Scousers hate me, because when I was on Twitter I was rinsed on there, threatened and loads of other stuff by people who claimed to be Scousers, but you never know. So to see that we put the show tickets on sale and they're 75% sold out in the shortest amount of time, by the way, because Liverpool was the last show we released, I'm nearly brought to tears earlier on when I got that update, because it makes me feel like, no, Liverpool don't hate us. Scousers don't hate us. They might not all like us, but somebody's buying them tickets. And I can't wait, because I'm going to leave no stone unturned to make sure that we rock Cardiff and Liverpool and we all have a fucking great night when we're there. Favourite rapper? Jay-Z. Yeah. Jay-Z. Always been a massive Jay-Z fan. Nas probably come in second. And look, you're going to say to me Eminem and lots of others. I know. I'm just giving you my honest answer there. I've always been a massive Jay-Z fan. I've seen him 3 times live. Yeah, just love Jay-Z. Craig, when someone disagrees with a point, they usually go to "you aren't from Liverpool" argument. No, mate, I was getting stuff like, if you come to Liverpool, we're going to hang you from Lime Street lampposts. That's the type of messages I was getting. But as I've said, I've met enough other Scousers at events who've said, we love your channel. We really like it. And that means a lot to me because I love the city of Liverpool dearly. And I love Scousers. And I'll only ever speak up for them and defend them because they're great people. So now is where I will do the recap. But bear with me. I need to just stretch out for a second. There you go. The old crown jewels were a little bit burny there after sitting still for this long. I'm going to quickly recap and fly through all the news because I know a lot of people have come in after the England game and I want to make sure that we keep them up to date with what's going on. Just one last thing about the poll. It is still up there. Do you think Man City will get away with it? Is the question. Yes or no? We'll leave that running. Right. So the first story we brought to you today was the price for toying coop miners. It's believed Atalanta want £51 million or 60 million euro wherever he goes. Excuse me. Whether that's Juventus or whether that's Liverpool or elsewhere. 51 million quid. The next story that was really interesting and kind of came from nowhere anyway for me was that Liverpool have inquired about Ryan Cherki from Lyon. He's going into the last 12 months of his contract. He played 33 games this season in the French top division, and Liverpool and Spurs have been linked as two clubs who are looking to get him in on the cheap, I guess, because he's only got 1 year to go. So let me know your thoughts on Ryan Cherki. Would you think, I don't know where the space would be for him in the squad personally, but at that age point, maybe it's a loan for a year or so and then bring him back in the future, or maybe he's ready to go, I don't know. The next one was Jimenez. We spoke a little bit about Santiago Jimenez. So this says, Feyenoord striker Santiago Jimenez could cost less than £40 million amid the links with Anfield. Team Talk have said the Dutch club want to hold out for €45 million, which is about £38.5 million. That would be a record sale. It goes on to say that he won't be prevented from leaving if the right offer is tabled, and this comes amid reports that suggested that Arne Slot had referenced Jimenez when he was in talks with Liverpool about becoming our manager, or first team coach, I should say. So keep an eye on that one. I'm not saying it's going to happen or it isn't going to happen, but if the gaffer has been speaking about this guy before he even arrived into the club, maybe worth keeping an eye on. Then we spoke about the story from Jacob Steinberg that West Ham's move for Palmeiras Luis Guilherme has broken down, meaning there is a chance maybe Liverpool come back to the table here. We've seen confirmation from Fabrizio Romano and many other people that Liverpool were monitoring Luis Guilherme, but it was believed West Ham had gotten in there first, but that deal, according to Jacob Steinberg, has broken down. Don't know why, but it does say that deal has fallen apart. The next one came in from Correo da Mana, who said Benfica will hold out for €100 million or £85 million for centre-back Antonio Silva. That's a lot of wedge. I love this guy. He played 50 games for Benfica this season, kept 20 clean sheets, and he's not even 21 yet. So yes, the price is eye-watering, but I truly believe that this guy would be a centre-back for 12, 15 years at the top level, and I'd be all over it if we had owners who were willing to spend. Because he could be our future Van Dijk, in my opinion. Him, you've got Kwanzaa, Kanade, 3 young centre-backs there coming through together. We've lost Joel Matip and we have a senior player in Virgil van Dijk as well. I'd be all over this, but it is a lot of money. Then there was negotiations, apparently, there's reports that Liverpool have entered negotiations for not for coop miners, excuse me. I'm going to start that again. There was reports that Liverpool have entered negotiations for Kefren Thuram, and that's according to Tutto Juve. They say 22-year-old played 29 times this season, and that he's the younger brother of Inter Milan's Marcus Thuram, obviously, and Nice value the player at about €30 million or about £25 million. Again, I don't know if there's truth in this with Liverpool. I think it's lazy journalism linking us back to a player we looked at last year. This one is really interesting though, and this one we had a vote on earlier on, and I think 82%, if I remember right, said yes. This said, Liverpool handed Federico Chiesa boost. Liverpool linked winger Federico Chiesa has no intention of signing a renewal at Juventus under the current circumstances. The attacker has 1 year left on his deal and is expected to be sold this summer, so a fee can be brought in for him. Chiesa could be available for as little as £20 million, the report goes on to say. With the Italian player said to be unhappy at Juventus, Liverpool have been tipped to be in the hunt for a wide player this summer. Would it be Federico Chiesa? At that price, it's got to be worth a roll of the dice for somebody. Really does. Like, if you can get him for £20 million, no-brainer, in my opinion. Next one is a little bit of a left field one. Said Liverpool interested in Douglas Luiz of Aston Villa. This again comes in from Calcio Mercato, so coming from Italy. They say Liverpool have been linked with the 26-year-old who can play as a double pivot in Arne Slot's system. Arsenal, Manchester United are also linked, albeit the latter, United, are in a weaker position being without Champions League football. I don't believe Villa would be open to selling, but the £60 million price tag, it would be very interesting, because there'd be value in that, in my opinion, at 60 million quid. But again, Villa aren't a selling club. They don't need to sell. FFP may make them sell, but their owners certainly aren't lacking in money. So if Villa have to sell somebody, you never know. Maybe it's Douglas, or maybe it's who am I talking about here? Douglas Luiz, sorry. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I take it with a pinch of salt anyway. Then there was another story saying from Fabrizio Romano saying Liverpool are showing interest in Gonzalo Inacio. Then we spoke about a story coming from Simon Jones of the Mail that said Liverpool expect offers from Saudi Arabia for Joe Gomez this summer. My favourite story of the day, though, comes in again from Simon Jones of the Mail, and this says Richard Hughes is expected to look for significant upgrades in the transfer market on the squad that Arne Slot has inherited. That's music to my ears. Significant upgrades. So let's hope that is the case. Then there was Sepp van den Berg. Wolfsburg have emerged as early frontrunners for his signature from Liverpool, again according to Simon Jones. We spoke a little bit about João Neves. This article misleadingly starts with Liverpool leading the race for Benfica star. The article basically suggests that Liverpool, as well as some other Premier League clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal, then you've got the likes of PSG and Bayern Munich, Manchester United's name thrown in there as well, all after the 19-year-old midfielder from Benfica. But I would say you're looking at, again, in excess of 100 million quid here for his signature, and wouldn't say no. But again, be really surprised if FSG pony up that amount of money. But Julian Ward has great contacts in Portugal. Let's wait and see. And then Ojogo, who are a Portuguese outlet, have said Manchester United are preparing a move for Gonzalo Inacio, a target of Liverpool. So there you go. That's all pretty much the news we've went through tonight. Then there was another story from Fabrizio that says Juventus keep considering Coop Miners, but they haven't yet put in an offer. They're waiting to see if they can sell Chiesa and raise some money. So that's where we're at with all the news and the latest stories. I've got 10 minutes to go on tonight's stream, so Q&A time. Anything you guys want to ask me, let's go. 500k or dinner with Jay-Z? 500k? Mate, I don't own my house. I don't own a house. 500k would buy me a family home, so easy 500k. What's the latest on Nike for the season after next? So, nothing, really. There is going to be a new range of Nike crossover sneakers and trainers coming out, looking at the Air Max 90 kind of era, which I'm interested to see. And if they look nice, I'll buy a pair, because I wear Nike Air Max as it is. So, but looks like there's 1 year to go there, and then we'll see Liverpool probably, but, well, I'm 90% certain it'll be Adidas. So we should hear something on that. It'll probably be months away, though. You know, halfway through the season we might see it. There was something else here. What was this? Who's your dream signing, regardless if it's realistic or not? Musiala. Musiala. I wanted Bellingham, but that's not only unrealistic, it's super unrealistic. So I'd say Jamal Musiala would be right at the top of my list. Antonio Silva, like I've said many times, as a centre-back would be amazing. Who else would I take? I'd rob Declan Rice off Arsenal in a heartbeat as well, if that was possible. Would you rather we get Olise or Kudus? I think Olise has the higher ceiling and the potential to be a better player, but he has the worrisome track record with the hamstring injuries. So I still say Olise, but I wouldn't say no to Kudus. I just think Olise is the higher ceiling and he's really exciting to watch. So yeah, for me, I'd probably go with Olise. But I think United are in the box seat for him. Thoughts on Szoboszlai's potential under Slot? Well, I feel like regardless of who the coach was going to be this season, Dominik Szoboszlai does have to take another step forward. He started brightly at Liverpool, fell away a little bit throughout the year, looked fatigued at times to me, but it also takes people time to settle in. He's spoken about being kind of a bit of an introvert, and Trent is a mate of his at the club, but it took him a while to get to know people and speak with them. So I'm expecting a good season from Dom. His talent's not in doubt, and I think Arne Slot will certainly help to blossom him at Liverpool. Craig, I have a controversial opinion. I don't want Trent at right back or in a double pivot. I want him as a right winger. That year Feyenoord won the title, their left wing wasn't fast at all and still worked. So, our right wingers have to defend as well and tuck back. Salah got some free rein on it at the end of this season. But I think you're wasting Trent on the right hand side. You want him central, in my opinion, to be able to use his range of passing and to see the pitch in front of him. I don't like the idea of him playing wide right in an attacking sense, personally, but I respect where you're coming from. Craig, I worry about Chiesa because the last Italian we bought for 20 million was Aquilani, who played well for his Italian club but didn't turn up for Liverpool. That was a weird transfer because he was injured actually when we signed him. We lost Alonso and we went out and signed the Little Prince, as was his nickname. And look, he had flashes of looking really talented, but he came in injured and kind of stayed that way all the way through. I think £20 million when we signed Aquilani versus £20 million today, I think it's a lot less of a risk the way transfers have gone and how much money clubs are spending. So I think I would take the risk at 20 million. For me, the best winger from the Premier League is Pedro Neto. His price tag was nonsense though. They wanted like 90 million apparently in a couple of reports I'd seen. And again, you have to talk about Pedro Neto's injuries. Great player though. Always told you guys I'm a fan of Pedro Neto. He's got that fire in his belly and there's a lot to admire about him. So yeah, would be a good piece of business if you don't have concerns about the injury stuff. 132 years today, 3rd of June 1892, said Keep. Happy birthday to me bird. Craig, are you worried that Slot might struggle setting his style of play? No, I'm not. Because it's not... How do I say this? It's not identical to Jurgen Klopp's, but it's not a million miles away. Every new coach is going to take time to get players up on the intricacies of how a system works. But there's a good building block to start with. And Liverpool players have played and utilised a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1 over the years. So, no, I think he'll get it across quite quickly. Now, my big fear, though, if I'm being honest with you, Mohammed, is more, does he get backed in the transfer market? Because if Slot doesn't work out at Liverpool, I feel it'll be really harsh on him if he hasn't been backed and it doesn't work out. Then I feel like he's been scapegoated. So I hope he is backed in the market. But I don't know if it's just blind optimism, but I'm feeling upbeat about Arne Slot. I like him. I like the cut of the guy. I like how he's addressed the media. I think he's going to be a good fit. Who would I sign for the number 6? Ederson from Atalanta, without any doubt. Slot will do well, all depends on FSG and if they hang him out to dry, said the Liverpool prophet. Alex said, I'm upbeat like you. I think we all have to be, right? We have to give Arne Slot the benefit of the doubt. We have to get behind him and give him the chance to succeed. We did it with Jurgen. Jurgen delivered. We love Jurgen to bits. Jurgen's told us again, get behind the new manager. Let's do that. Let's give him the opportunity to succeed. And, you know, if things aren't perfect at the very start, give him a few months. Give him time to figure it out, because he's going to come in and, you know, we want him to succeed. If he succeeds, we all succeed. Opinions on Mats Wiefer. Don't know all that much about him. I know he plays midfield for Feyenoord, but other than that, I don't know if he's good enough or not. Some people have told me yes, but I don't know. When's the Slot announcement? It was announced on Saturday, but they haven't done any content on it. The club put out a post on Saturday to say that Arne Slot officially starts his job today as Liverpool head coach. That's it. That's all we've gotten. We've not got an interview or anything like that. So, yeah, we're all a bit confused on that one. Brian Jardine said, evening, Craig, mate. Good to see you. Thank you, mate. And thank you for being with us as a member for a month as well. Appreciate your support. Love your passion, desire, and honest, open-minded opinions. Thank you so much, Nav. That's really kind of you. Yeah, look, that type of stuff makes my day, mate. We hear kind people like yourself say that, so thank you. Craig, I thought we weren't looking at Somerville, but now we're in talks with him. There have been conflicting reports. So Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool are still looking at Somerville, but there were 2 or 3 reports last week that said that Liverpool have walked away. We even went through the odds with the bookies, and they had Chelsea at like, I think 6-4 and Liverpool at 10-3. So yeah, again, conflicting reports, and I don't know which one's telling the truth. It's because of the Euros. Slot hasn't done an interview, but the Euros hasn't started yet. The Euros doesn't start till the 14th. So, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know what it is. I'll give him 1 season to adapt in the league and then start to criticise him if needed, said Mohammed. What worries me, Craig, is how the players will feel with Klopp now he's gone. It was like their dad. It was all they knew. I get that, absolutely. But again, the club left no stone unturned researching the right coach, and Arne Slot's the guy they came up with. So, you know, he's going to know the job in front of him. And I think he'll be the type of manager to put an arm around the player if needs be, or to speak open and frankly with them based off what I've been reading about him. Right, my voice is starting to go a little bit, so I'm going to bring tonight's stream towards a close. But again, a reminder, selling fast is not a lie. If you want to come and see us in Cardiff for Liverpool, you can get your tickets with the link in the description or the link pinned to the top of the chat. The Liverpool show is about 25% left. The 75% is sold. Cardiff isn't far behind. So if you want to come and see us, these are the last 2 shows we're doing. August 2nd, Cardiff. August 4th, Liverpool. And otherwise, I will see you tomorrow, 8:30, same time, same place. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you to Connor in the background for all of his work as well. To everyone that donated, memberships, super chats and all. Thank you guys so much. We'll chat to you tomorrow. Much love.